You can play.
Oh. How's it going, everybody? This is Dave with DII. We're live today with our free handpan class. Today we're going to be talking about the handpan, how to play it a little bit. For beginners, we're going to talk about how to get started and learn how to touch the instrument and get the sound out of it and all that sort of thing. We're also going to be talking about our DII community, which is something new that we're offering to our customers and to people that are exploring the handpans in general. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. If you haven't been to our site yet, our website is davesislandinstruments.com. We call ourselves DII, Dave's Island Instruments. You can also go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook page. You can just look it up at Dave's Island Instruments. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go over here underneath the video screen and click the red subscribe word. I think it is. It's not really a button. It's the word subscribe in red. Click that and subscribe to our channel. It'd be great to have you as a channel subscriber. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be talking about our DII community. Our DII community is a place where we are posting lessons and having like a subscription monthly service, which people become members and they can take these lessons. And so we have got lessons right now that are talking about the basic course of how to play the handpan. We just finished a bunch of videos on the RS-12. So if you are an owner of the RS-12 or if you're considering purchasing an RS-12 from us here at DII, then you can take a look at those. Those are going to be coming up this month. Beyond that, we're going to be doing a series of lessons for the Luna Clarity 11. It's another instrument that we sell a lot of here at DII. And so those lessons are going to be coming up soon in either late February or March. And we're also going to have a quick tutorial lesson on the rental handpans that we have. So we have rental handpans available here at DII. If you're new to handpans and you're not quite ready to pull the trigger on purchasing one, we have rentals here at DII, and you can go to our website and take a look at those. So the DII community is going to be full of all sorts of information. It's almost like our own little personal YouTube, and you can go in there and you can talk and you can chat with us. The other cool thing is it's very specific to a certain lesson. So let's say you're watching a certain lesson and you have a question about that lesson. You can actually post a question on that specific lesson and we can get back to you with some answers. So it's a really, really cool platform. If you want to go there, you can go to our website, and as you go to our website, there's a little pop-up that floats down from the top, and you can click on the pop-up that takes you to the subscribe area for that DII platform, or for the for the DII community platform. And like there you go on screen. You can also scroll on screen and find it. I believe it's under services. We've got the spot under there where you can click and get to the DII community. And on from there. So that is the plan for today. So, oh, by the way, Daniel is, Daniel, are you here with us, by the way? Daniel, are you here?
Yes, we are.
Daniel's
Yes, I am here. Yes, sir.
All right, Daniel's here with us. Daniel's running the show in the background here, by the way, people. So
yeah, Dave,
let's give some
what you
applause
need?
to Daniel for setting everything up for us.
Yay, yay. Where's my...
All right, so Daniel suggested, he said, for anybody that signs up for the DII community in February, he's going to give you a free virtual handpan lesson. So if you want to check it out, it's a great opportunity right now just to get into that, the lessons, learn all sorts of stuff about it, what we have to offer with the lessons already. And then if you want to get that free virtual lesson with Daniel in February, sign up, and that's what you get. You get a free lesson, free virtual lesson. So
yeah, so
Daniel, have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, if anybody has signed up in January or in February, yeah, I'll give a free 30-minute virtual lesson. And I think all you would have to do is sign up. You don't have to pay for the lesson. Then we do have a 30-minute handpan lesson. And just put in the notes, yeah, I want my free lesson. You can make the day, and then we will converse, and it will be a good time.
Excellent.
So.
Okay, so yeah, so Daniel, I'm sure you've seen it too, but we've already had several people subscribe in January. We just unveiled it in January. So
Yes.
we've already got people involved with the DII community, and it's been really fun watching the comments come in. The other thing too is at the end of some of the lessons, it asks you to post a video if you want, or like an audio sample of you playing. And it's been really great hearing those. What do you think, Daniel? Have you heard it?
No, it's awesome. I've actually had somebody that's already gone through all the basic lessons, and I've done private lessons with him also. and it was amazing. He loved the lessons, and then the cool thing is, what I suggest before you set up a free virtual lesson is go through the basic lessons first,
Yeah,
and
basic
then
core
set up the
things.
lessons, and then I can help you, figure out where you need to go from that point, and
Yeah.
it's a good time. But yeah, there's people that have done that, and actually this the person that I was teaching, he's actually a rental. He hasn't bought yet, and he's taking the lessons and doing all that other stuff. So it's pretty cool. I love what we're doing in the community, and I like bringing
Yeah.
people together like that. It's cool.
Yeah, another cool thing is we had one person get on into the lessons in the DII community, and she actually purchased a DII handpan, but it was a used one from somebody else. Just she didn't purchase it from us, and
Mhm.
it was a different scale than we've been selling recently. We've been selling the Sunset scales for the past couple of years now, pretty much
Mhm.
exclusively. And so she ended up having an F-sharp Equinox, and she was able to even learn with the F-sharp Equinox from just the basic lessons that we had taught online. So she was really thrilled that she was able to get started, even though her
Mhm.
scale was slightly different. So I was really actually excited about that, because a lot of people have concerns about getting started with different scales and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
even if you didn't buy a handpan from us here at DII, if you are interested in just learning a little bit more about the handpan that you have and getting started, I think the lessons that we have on there are going to be a really good boost for you as far as learning and becoming a musician with your handpan.
And I just got to say, Dave, you're awesome for doing this, because we sit here and do the videos, and people don't realize how long it takes, and you do take a lot of time out of your day to actually do it. We spent like 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours the other day filming, and
Oh yeah,
it was
yeah,
amazing. But I could just tell everybody, man, I learned so much. Like, since the handpan is so new, there's so many new variations and techniques that we come up with. And Dave, because of your innovation and making them and stuff, and plus your music knowledge, you're actually like, it's crazy, because when you showed all those scales, it just inspired me. I was like, oh my God, there's so much more that
oh
you
yeah.
can
There's a
do with
lot.
the limited scales that you have, and it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was fun going through those lessons as well. I was realizing, oh my gosh, there's so much here to be to teach people. So and
Yeah,
so much
there
to
is.
learn. Even on my end, I'm like, oh, I just learned that myself.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
harmonies and
pretty.
the melodies,
Yeah,
and it's amazing. I love it.
yeah,
It's so
real
cool.
good.
And it's over because I'm the ukulele guy, but I'm taking that knowledge and moving it over to the ukulele too. So
That's right.
it's universal. It's actually
Yeah.
universal. It doesn't matter even the pan that you have. It's kind of crazy.
Right, right. All right,
Yeah.
so there you go, everybody. If you haven't checked out the DIY community yet, go to our website. The little pop-up comes down from the top of the screen as you log in. And you can go to follow the links on that pop-up, or you can go to our services tab on the website and follow the link to the DII community. And that'd be great. So anybody that subscribes from now on through February gets a free virtual lesson from Daniel. So check it out. It'd be great to have you guys there and see your progress as you go through the lessons. So check it out. All right, we're going to move on to our classic DII handpan free handpan class right now. This is my lesson that I've been doing for almost 2 years now, maybe a little longer than 2 years. Um, we originally had it here at DII at the store here in Lakewood, California, and we would advertise, and we'd have collections of people come every 2 weeks, and they would learn how to play the handpan, and we have different models of handpans that they would be able to explore. And so we would have sometimes 2 people, sometimes we would have 10 people show up, or more, and it was a lot of fun. We would just be like this real community kind of feel, and I would teach the lessons, just get people started, and it was just really fun seeing the glow on people's faces when they would touch it for the first time and learn a little bit about how to play it. And so since the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been moving everything online, and I'm sure maybe some of you have already tuned in before, so thanks for showing up again. So we've been doing this continual class every 2 weeks. Occasionally we'll have a guest on, and I'll do like a little interview with the guests, but typically we have a little part of the show where it talks about how to get started with a handpan. Again, if you join the DII community, it goes beyond what I teach here on these Saturday classes. So these Saturday classes are just purely basically like a little introduction to the handpan, how to get started on a few elements. But on our DII community lessons platform, you can learn a lot more. So there's going to be a wealth of information on there that's not really divulged on the YouTube show here. So anyway, moving back to the handpan, I'm going to get started with our little DIY handpan class. Just pretend, if you're watching, pretend like you're in a class. If you have a handpan of your own, go ahead and get it out. And if you have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to write a comment. And as I'm playing, if your comment comes up on the screen, Daniel can read it out loud to us. And hopefully, if it's a question that I can answer, I'll answer it the best I can. And it's nice to have conversations with the people that are watching. So please feel free to make comments as we go. All right, so once again, I'm David Beery, the owner here at Dave's Island Instruments in Lakewood, California. And I've been tuning steel drums and handpans for the past nearly 30 years. I really started, I think it's 30 years now. The first time I ever tried or hammered on anything to make a steel drum was in North Carolina in the year 1991. And I was, the reason I remember that is because I was in North Carolina. It was kind of a different place for me. I went there with a friend, and he was interested in making steel drums, and so we first started getting started there in his basement in North Carolina, and that's the first time I hammered something and sunk down a shell and basically tried making a steel drum. Quite an adventure back then. Anyway, I'm still doing it 30 years later, and I've moved from steel drums predominantly to more of a handpan business, and so I've been making the handpans for 30 years. And so this is the culmination of all the work that I've been putting in over the years. We've got different models here at DIY. We've got the the Luna Satin model handpan. We've got the Luna Clarity model handpan, and we've got an RS stainless steel model handpan here at DIY. All of them are tuned basically with the same top shell scale, and a few of them now have notes on the bottom, like this one has notes on the bottom here, and you can see it has 3 notes on the bottom. And most of those notes, like we have an F here and a G here on the bottom, has a B flat for the Luna Clarity. The RS has a B natural, so they're slightly different, but slightly the same. But just the one note difference changes a lot of things. So this is what we've been doing for the past several years. We call this the Sunset Scale handpan, and it's basically a D minor scale or a D minor handpan. There's lots of D minor handpans out there in the handpan world at large, so it fits in very nicely with a lot of the other instruments that are out there. The one cool thing that's we like about having this similar scale for our handpans is we can all play together. So if you have a group of people that are interested in playing together, it all works together as a group, so that's really great. All right, so we've got something on screen there. A little image on screen shows you the different aspects of the handpan, so I'm just going to get started with that. This handpan is made out of steel, and it's got a top shell and a bottom shell. So we call the top a top shell and the bottom shell. The top has a bunch of notes on it that you play. The bottom, originally, before we had the notes on the bottom, it just had the hole in the center, and this hole right here is called the goo. The goo hole, G-U, is spelled G-U, goo. By the way, the handpan originally was named the Hang, H-A-N-G, and was made by a business called Panart in Switzerland, and I think they started making it back in the year 2000. And so that's how the whole handpan thing got started. Panart created the first Hang, and it became very, very popular within about 10 years. And I started making them around the year 2010. We are almost 11 years later now, and still going strong. So we've got the top shell, the bottom shell. There's the goo hole in the bottom. And then on the top, we've got this big note right here. It's called the ding, D-I-N-G, ding note. And it's usually the lowest note on the handpan, the lowest bass note. The notes around the edge, we call these notes tone field notes. We call them tone field notes because from my tradition with making steel drums, I would just call them notes. With the tradition of handpan, some people call them tone fields rather than notes. So we put it all together and called it tone field notes. So we've got the D in the middle, the D ding, and then we've got the notes around the edge. The larger one, it's about the same size as my hand, goes towards my body. The smaller notes that are about half the size of my hand go away from my body. And usually the smallest one, the highest pitch, is basically opposite my body. The lowest pitches here are towards my body. So you can see it's got a D for D minor, A, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Those are the notes of the Sunset Scale. If you had an RS handpan, which is our stainless steel model, it has one more note on top. It has a C above the A. So it has 9 notes on top. This one has 8 notes on top. Now, you might be wondering, if you're brand new to it, what these little dents are in the middle of the notes. These dents are called dimples, and they are there to basically kind of control the sound, to keep them from sounding too bright or too loud or too hard. So those dimples are there basically to control the sound a little bit. Another question I have about the dimples is, are those targets? Is that where you want to hit the note? Or is that where you want to, place your finger when you're making the sound? And at first I thought, well, not really. I mean, there's different places that you can play the notes and you get different sounds. But then as I was playing and teaching more, I've settled on yes. Just go ahead and use that as a target and use your finger to place it right in the middle of that dimple to get the sound. It usually produces a nice warm sound, and the warm sound is going to be best when you touch the middle of the note, like right there. You can get different sound effects if you go into different areas of each of the notes, like on the side. Usually they're oval shapes, so the length of the oval is going to have an octave sound, and I know you might not know what that means, but that's okay. It has like a higher sound. And then the width of the oval has an even higher sound above that, and we call that the fifth harmonic. And so the notes can be used in different ways, and all the harmonics can be used in different musical ways. But today we're just going to get you started on the basics of learning how to play the handpan. All right, so we've talked about the top shell, the bottom shell, the goo hole, the ding, the tone field notes. We talked about the dimples. Yes, around here we call this the rim, obviously. This one has a little rubber ring around it, but some handpans don't. They just have a regular metal ring. The rubber ring right here is not really intended to do much more. It's mostly decorative. Some people think that it sounds a little bit more mellow with the ring on, and with it off it sounds a little bit brighter. But it's something that a lot of people just come up with on their own. We talked about the scale tones, D, A, C, D, E, F, G, A. Those are the letter names of those notes. And if you are not a musician and are very unfamiliar with like notes and rhythm and all that sort of thing, we can also use numbers to count the notes. So we start with 1 in the center, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's basically how we count them. You'll notice that I started on my left hand on 1, my right hand on 2, left hand on 3, right hand on 4, left hand on 5, right hand on 6, left hand on 7, and right hand on 8. So you'll notice that it goes in a fashion with my hands, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So if you find that you're playing the handpan and you're going left, right, 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 left, right, something like that, you might not be following the same scale that I'm teaching today. So just notice that I've got that sequence of hand strokes while I'm teaching these lessons. And that's pretty much it. Daniel, did I miss anything? Are you still there in the background? What do you think?
Yes, I'm here, Dave.
Awesome. What do you think? How did I do so far?
Yeah, you're so awesome right now, Dave. No, like in the lessons, like teaching other people like the strikes and stuff like that. That's like a big thing, watching their fingers, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And lately, the people that have been getting their new handpans, they've had pretty good hits. It's kind of cool.
Oh, good.
But you could tell right away. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, let me move on to that then. I'm going to move on to striking the notes and getting the tone out of the handpan tone field notes. So like Daniel just said, like frequently when we would see people in our store over the past few years, people would have a couple different ways of playing the handpan, which weren't always optimal. There are always variations on how to play a handpan, and certain real professional players play with different techniques also. But in general, I'm going to show you what works best for me, and I'm going to show you what has been a problem for certain other customers that have come over in the past and learned from us. So basically, I'm going to show you the way that I've developed to play it myself, like this. You can see that I'm just kind of flopping my hand down onto the note, and I'm just using my index finger there. And it's basically striking the note and then immediately coming off of the note. So it's not actually resting on the note, and I'm also not forcing it backwards. So I'm not doing this kind of motion. So I'm just resting it on the note, or actually letting it flop down on the note, almost with gravity. Gravity kind of just falls down onto the note. And then the note gets struck by my finger, and then my finger kind of just like with a little bit of a spring-like fashion just kind of comes right back up. So I'm not really doing anything that's really dramatic with my hand. Okay. So sometimes people notice that this part of my hand, my palm, sometimes will touch the handpan before my finger does. And to some degree that's true, yeah. I just kind of like look down. If I raise my palm like this, I tend to get more of a ticky-tacky slap out of the note, which I'm not really a fan of. So I kind of like the feel and the sound of when I just lay my hand down on the note and just my finger just flops down onto the note. Now, I've noticed some people will tend to curl their fingers, like piano players were taught to curl their fingers when they're playing the piano. But that's not always the most ideal way of striking the handpan, because the tendency is to like drag your finger on the handpan note, and dragging it will mute it. So you don't want it to be muted, you want it to resonate like that. So make sure that you're not pulling at the note or touching at the note like this with a curved finger. Try to avoid, at least initially. I know that over time I've actually learned that kind of curling my finger like this, kind of snapping at it, is kind of a cool effect. So if I want a quieter sound with a little bit of that attack to it, I kind of do that little finger curl method, but I don't suggest it for a beginner because you're trying to get that nice warm sound out of the instrument. So one of the first exercises I explain to people for getting that tone is just to use the ding note in the center. And we're going to start with 4 hits on the right hand and 4 hits on the left hand. And you're basically just going to get a nice warm tone out of that ding note and then switch to your left hand like that. And you can just do that repeating over and over again, kind of slowly. You don't have to go fast, because what you're looking for right now is the good sound. And also not only just sound, but as a performer, as a player, yep, don't forget to breathe. A really good time to breathe is during these simple exercises like this. But you want your body to learn the motions. So part of it is an intellectual exercise, but part of it is a physical exercise. And the physical aspect, it's almost like learning to the way you're hitting, so you don't have to think about it anymore. And that can take some time. Sometimes it takes people, several weeks or a month or so to really feel like, oh, I'm getting it now. I've got some really good stories about players that have come in and purchased handpans from us in the past, and we'll see them in the beginning. They might be struggling a little bit to get the sound, but over time they'll come back, and we'll see them again. And wow, they've come away. It's really fun to see how far people have come and gotten in a pretty short period of time. But sometimes it does take a little while, and if you're really good at just being diligent, you can move along and make those things happen. You can get your progress going, and you're going to be really happy with it. So that's the first exercise that I would suggest, is the 4 strikes on each hand. Again, don't forget to breathe during these exercises. Give your brain a lot of oxygen. So then after you move on from this exercise, you can practice playing on some of the notes on the side, like the D and the E here, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to try that. Just 4 on this D, and then 4 on the E over here on the left, 4 on the right, and then 4 on the left. Yep, just like that. Good. So then after that, you've got a pretty good basis for getting the sound out of the low ding note, sound out of these. Sometimes people struggle a little bit with the higher notes. The higher notes are a little tighter, so sometimes you have to strike them a little bit harder to get the sound out of them. One customer that came in, one student that came in one time, she was struggling getting a sound out of it. She was kind of doing that curling the finger thing that I was talking about earlier. And the way she started to understand how to play the handpan and get a good sound out of it was, at some point I said, why don't you try playing softer? And when she played, she was able to get a better sound out of it. And I think what happened was, in her brain, when she was thinking about hitting and striking the handpan, it was like a forceful motion with like tension in your muscles and that sort of thing. So when I told her to relax and play softer, that's when she actually started getting the sound out of the instrument and making better progress at getting good sound out of the notes. So just explore all sorts of different methods of playing the handpan. So if you're struggling with one thing, try something different. Either play softer, louder, whatever. You can also try your thumbs. Some people are more comfortable with their thumbs, like that. And the thumb, playing with the thumb is more of a rotary motion than a up and down with gravity kind of motion. So it's a slightly different feel. But either way, you can play with your thumbs, that kind of thing. So you can try with your thumbs. The other thing cool about handpan is you can really explore pretty much all of the fingers on your handpan, thumbs and fingers. They're all going to have slightly different sound and a different effect. All right, so the next thing I would like to talk with you about is just doing the simple basic scale. So we're going to start with our left hand. We're going to play straight up and down the sunset scale. So the lowest note is the note. The next lowest note is the A, here on the back towards your body. And then we've got a C with the left hand by your body. The right hand is a D, left hand is an E, right hand is F, left hand is G, and right hand is A. So you can go straight up that scale. I think I outlined it a little bit earlier in this video, but left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, just like that. Okay, so as you're practicing, you might want to practice a scale something like this with a clock that's ticking. You can just, every time you hear the seconds go by on the clock, you can just strike one of the notes. Click 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Start over again. That kind of thing. Or if you want to take it slower than that, you can just wait for 2 seconds to go by. Left, click, right, click, left, click, right, click, left, click, right, click, left, click, right, click. That way you can just use that clock as a metronome, really. So if you have a metronome, you can feel free to use the metronome in a different way. A metronome is a little device that makes these little clicking sounds, and you can adjust how fast or slow it goes. And it's nice to listen to that click because you can, if you start slow on something, you can train yourself to get it really good going slow and then move it to a faster tempo and take it a little faster and take it a little faster and that sort of thing. But it's a nice, comfortable way of progressing from slow to fast. So the easiest thing for me, like I suggested, is just a clock. You can just hear the clicking at the top of the clock. That's one really easy way to get started. Then if you wanted to start going back down the scale, you can start on the right hand on the A, and then go to the G with your left, F on the right, E with the left, right on the D, left on the C, right on the A, and left on the D. Like that. And then as you explore going up and down the scale, you can put them together. So let's play that. So let's play going up and then immediately back down. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Start again and go back down. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So those are that's the basic scale of the sunset scale on the handpans that we sell. And so you can get started like that. More ideas, you can formulate more and more ideas just from the basic ideas that I'm giving you today. I'm going to talk a little bit now about some of the rhythms that you can play. And there you're going to see this metal that goes between the notes. The metal that goes between the notes is called interstitial metal. The interstitial metal is metal that was hammered intentionally so that it does not make a sound. It's more of like a clickety-clackety kind of sound or a metallic sound, but it's not really a tone or a pitch. Okay, so that metal can be used like the backbeat, like a snare drum on a drum set, and you can smack it with your fingers over here or wherever you can find a nice space of interstitial metal. You can use the bottom really, like that, where it just kind of gets the snap out of it. You can use it like a snare drum on a drum set, and you can use the ding note like a bass drum. So it'd be like bass drum, snare drum, bass drum, snare drum. Like that. So you see a lot of handpan players using this technique of using the interstitial metal for backbeats. So the one difference between playing a handpan note and the interstitial metal is, like I told you before, when you're playing a handpan note, you want that finger to come off of the note. You don't want it to rest on the metal. When you're playing the interstitial metal for a backbeat, the tendency is you want to strike the area and then keep your finger there to kind of keep it a nice, strong, muted sound. So it's almost the opposite. So if you wanted to, you could even make it of itself. You could practice handpan note, then interstitial, handpan note, interstitial, just until you figure out the difference of that feel, because they both are kind of an opposite feel, and train your brain the difference between how to perform each one of those kind of motions. All right, so that motion here, I'm gonna play it over here on the interstitial metal, and for some reason I tend to like my middle finger. I don't really like using my index finger, whereas I like using my index finger for the handpan notes, but for the interstitial metal I tend to use my middle finger. You could use your ring finger, whichever finger is most comfortable. I suggest not really using a full hand or 3 or 2 fingers, because it starts getting a muffled sound rather than a nice snap. So I tend to like my middle finger. It's a nice strong finger that I can use, and it gets a nice snap out of the instrument. All right, so I'm going to show you a rhythm now. It's called the Austin Funk. We originally created this rhythm in Austin, Texas when I was there teaching somebody. And so we are going to play the left hand on the ding, and then the right hand on the interstitial metal like this. And so let me just show you what it sounds like, the entire thing, and then I'll tear it apart and explain it to you in detail. So here it goes. So that was one time through the whole thing. I'm going to play it one more time. So that was twice through the entire pattern. So you'll notice that it's basically a 2-part little melody or rhythm part. And so the first part is played 3 times. So it's a repeating pattern 3 times. 1, 2, that's the second repeat. 3, and stop on 4. Okay, like a little pause rest. And then we play the C and the D, which are the notes 3 and 4. 3, 4, 3, 4, C, D, C, D. So we're going to do the repeating pattern 3 times. 1, 2, 3, stop on 4, rest, and then left, right on the C, D, C, D. So now when I'm pausing there to show it to you, I just slowed the rhythm down a little bit, but it needs to stay in rhythm. So let me show you one more time what it sounds like when it's in rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, and then you start over again. See how that works? 2, 3, 4, rest, left, right, and then you start over again. I'm going a little bit fast right now, so if you want a beginner, if you're a beginner, you can go slower than this. But that's the basics of the Austin Funk. So now you're able to play a rhythm like the bass drum here, and then the snapping part of the fingers over here on the interstitial metal. And you can explore all sorts of different ways to use that slapping interstitial metal. And you can also explore different ways of using the bass tone, maybe on a different note, maybe like the A here. Right? Rather than using the D in the middle of the ding. So with these ideas, these are just basic ideas that I'm giving you for a basic free handpan class. And you can explore these ideas more and create all sorts of different ideas yourself from the little basic fundamentals that I've given to you today. All right, if we have any comments, I'm not sure if we have any comments today or not. hearing
comments.
anything.
Everybody's chilling out today,
Everyone's
Dave.
chilling out today. It's all good.
Yeah,
Cool
it's a nice
January
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Saturday. We're just hanging out,
Yeah,
but
we just got some snow in the mountains here, so the snow is looking really good on the mountains today.
oh yeah. No, it's cool. Like I love listening to you every week. I have to because I'm here. Just kidding, but
Yeah, right.
but it just reinforces the basics of what we know, and just keeping going. Just keeping on the basics is like that'll get you to where you need to be. Like a lot of people want to go fast in the beginning, but it's slow that makes you faster. It's like kind of crazy.
Yep.
And then
and just breathe. Don't forget.
yeah, and just breathe. And then on top of it, as you are practicing and learning, there is a healing quality to it that I'm finding. And actually the book, I don't know if you know, I've been reading this book called Music Medicine by Christine Stevens. And one of the things that I found out was that, like, I guess as you go through your musical journey, first you have to look into your heart to find what your rhythm is, because you probably know more than I do, but doesn't everybody have like a different kind of vibe to them, like when they play
absolutely.
an instrument?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always a different type of vibe. So the first thing in music, I think, is you have to look at yourself and say, hey, where is that music? Say in this book is like look into your heart for your rhythm, and that's where you're gonna find your song, which is your melody. And then I think that's like every bird has a different song, every whale has a different song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they pronounce. And then what you do is you take those two things, and then it'll help you harmonize with everybody else in life. It's kind of crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, on my own personal journey of music, I've also had to learn that you have to let go of certain things that you thought that you were.
Yes.
You
Yes.
thought you were this kind of musician. You thought you would produce this kind of music, but sometimes it ends up that you produce just naturally something different than you expected. And sometimes you just have to let go of those preconceptions of what you wanted maybe to be, and then just go along with what you actually are, and allow yourself to follow that journey. So it
Actually,
can be kind of an interesting head trip.
No, you hit it right on. It's letting go. And I actually had a perfect example in my Ux social. I had a gentleman, he was, I leave it open for open mic, so they can, like, basically they're performing in front of everybody on the Zoom call, right? So, everybody did it except him. And he was kind of like going, oh, it's him and high. He goes, I'll do it this time. And he goes, no, I got stage fright. And then, like, the next time he's like, no, I can't do it. It took him like 3 tries. And usually, if you see that, usually they mess up, right, Dave? Like, they're like, they're all nervous and they mess up. But what happened was he did it, and you could see him let go. And it was the greatest thing ever. I was just like, oh my God, you killed it. It was so awesome. But what you said, letting go, that's the journey of music. Once you hit that point, music is so easy. It's like, wow, you hear it.
I think especially for adults, because they have, over their lifetime, they've set a bunch of roadblocks in front of themselves. So they have to let those roadblocks go. When you're a child, you haven't set up any roadblocks yet, so you kind of go into it in a more natural fashion, and you just everything is just unveiled for you, and you just kind of naturally learn. But as adults, we definitely have to put things aside and go, okay, just let go of that one, let go of that one.
And that's the beauty of the handpan, because as a teacher, I find that it's not about teaching the handpan; it's more about teaching people to find their music that they have inside of them. It's kind of crazy. It's like I think that's the key. The key, because everybody has their music, and that's what they want. That's why they want to play the instrument, because they have something they need to let go. Actually, Cynthia Lynn said this, and she said that music was meant to be shared, and sometimes you get to a point where you're on the song and you just don't want to sing it because you don't think you have it right. So you need to let it go first before you can actually appreciate it, or something like that. It was just awesome. I was like, oh, no matter how good or bad you think, just do it, and then it gets better over time. I find that as I sing songs too, is like, or practice the handpan, I just keep on getting better. It's like, it's pretty awesome. So that's my little thing today.
Well, cool, Daniel. Thanks so much for facilitating today again. You rock.
You're awesome, Dave.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I guess that's it for today's class. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to contact us. Go to our website, davesislandinstruments.com. You can go down to the bottom and click the contact us button, and there's also a newsletter button if you want to join our newsletter. You get notified of when we're going online, if we're going to be guests, sorts of different topics and different things that we're going to be discussing online. So have you, please don't forget about us. Make sure you come back every time. And also don't forget about the DII community. You can go there for lessons and explore all sorts of things that go beyond what we show you here on YouTube during our lessons here in the free class. So alrighty, thank you very much. I'm going to play a little bit and we're going to just kind of fade out. Have a great afternoon and have a great weekend.